think we're on. Lately, in all my conversations with my friends, it feels like none of us have a real direction in life. And there's this question, right, of if I don't have direction, how can I be successful? How can I live a meaningful life if I don't even know what the meaning is? I genuinely feel like being in your 20s right now is like kind of like a humiliation ritual. You're not doing it right. No matter what you're doing, you're not doing it right, and everybody else has it figured out. You don't have direction. You have this sort of feeling of it doesn't really matter what I do, so I might as well just do whatever for the plot. I think the way to find direction is just to throw stuff at the wall and figure it out. Half the people that I know are getting their relationship advice, their career advice from Reddit or TikTok. And on one hand, it's really great to have extra people weighing in on everything that you do, but it can also create this like panopticon. You feel like your choices are going to be analyzed by everybody around you because you're analyzing your choices by the thoughts of everybody else around you. So as you're weighing out your decisions, you're trying to figure out which direction you go next. You could spend a lot of time psychoanalyzing the decisions that you make, but really the best decision is to just choose anything. I dated this guy in college, and the most helpful thing that came out of that was this one piece of advice from the guy's mom. I was figuring out which class to choose, and she told me, just do whatever you want, because more valuable than figuring out what you do want to do is figuring out what you don't want to do. Your goal in everything should be to experience life and come out of those experiences forming an opinion about the world. You could spend 20 hours thinking about how you might feel in a situation and then experience it and feel completely different. And I think a lot of people end up holding themselves back because of a lack of direction. And as you're thinking about like things that you want to try and whether or not you're going to fail, it all comes from a mindset of scarcity, that you won't ever have this experience again, or that the experience that you're going to might be worse. You don't know what you want out of a relationship, so you continue to date. There's a lack of tangible commitment because you're like, I don't know what I want out of this. I've seen friends repeatedly get back together with guys or go on like first, second, third dates with guys that they don't even like because they're generally looking for a husband. They're generally looking for a boyfriend. But what do you actually want out of that? If in this very transitory state of your life, you go in not with the intention of fitting everything that you're doing into a direction that you haven't figured out yet, but rather using those experiences to inform, this is the direction in which I want to go, you then making decisions that you might view as bad in the future, but as reasonable now becomes way less shameful. Reframing the things that you do as being intentional steps towards figuring out where you want to go rather than intentional steps away from the ultimate direction that you haven't even figured out yet sort of relieves that pressure valve for you. I think the same thing could be said about your career as well. This doesn't just apply to dating, it applies to pretty much everything. I went to Stanford and I feel like the trap of prestige there is like crazy. A lot of people get wrapped up in the optics of what they're doing. I know so many people, including myself, who like had no direction after college, but in trying to figure out that direction rather than trying a bunch of different things that actually interest them, they're like, okay, let me quantify what the best actual choice will be, and I'll go into investment banking, I'll go into consulting, I'll go into a job that pays really high but doesn't really resonate with what I want to do long term because I don't know what I want to do long term. And mentally, this kind of makes sense because you want to choose the most secure option that's going to give you what you think is going to be a broad swath of experiences. But actually what comes out of that experience is you're working really hard. You're not becoming specialized in anything. You're not creating experiences anywhere that you'd be able to say, okay, I don't want to work there. I do want to work here. How do I get here? Right? In creating this safety net of other people's opinions, of prestige, of money, whatever it is, you're skipping over this time in your life that you have to really do anything. The way that we measure success nowadays, especially with the advent of the internet, is not in comparison to our true peers. It's in comparison to influencers. It's in comparison to podcasters. It's in comparison to a random guy on Reddit who's 40 years old and pretending to be 16. It feels like very basic advice to be saying you shouldn't be comparing and you should follow the drumbeat of your own heart. But I actually think it is important to give a reminder. Comparison is not helpful when you're trying to find your direction. You can't figure out what you want to do in your life and think your way out of the problem of having an existential crisis. You can't overanalyze the way that you feel about things and somehow come to a conclusion that you would have come to had you actually experienced the things that you have anxiety about. I think a lot of people overanalyze themselves. They think that other people are thinking of them and they're just not. Again, this panopticon effect of like you're listening to everybody else's advice and then in turn you think that everybody's paying attention to you and projecting your own feelings about what you're doing onto you. When in actuality, every single moment where you're just like, oh, I'm being so cringe. Oh, I have so much self-doubt. You should be ignoring that voice. It's the voice in the back of your head trying to tell you not to push forward because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to do something new. It's uncomfortable to put yourself in a position where you might fail. It's extremely uncomfortable to do that in the presence of other people, like taking a new job, dating a new person. And frankly, that's why it's incredibly necessary. I've tried out running, I've tried out pottery, I've tried out drawing, I've done a million different things in my life and figured out the things that I really do like and the things that I can live without. If you want to figure out what you want to do, if you want to close this gap of direction that you're feeling, you have to be willing to embarrass yourself a lot. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Worst thing that's going to happen. You're going to spend a Saturday at a library because you want to take a drawing class, right? You didn't spend any money. You got to support your local library. You might be bad at drawing and you might never want to do it again. You only waste one Saturday. You want to get into shape. You want to go to the gym, but you're afraid because you've never been in shape. You've never gone to the gym. What's the worst case scenario? Spend $30 for a gym subscription in your town. You go one time, maybe somebody stares at you. Maybe you have an embarrassing experience one time. You can decide not to go again, right? But spending hours worrying about something versus 20 minutes doing something, I know what's the more valuable thing, and it's doing something. Ultimately, all of this goes back to that one piece of advice. Your goal should be to experience things. It's better to find out what you don't like than what you do, because then you have direction. If you've been searching for the grand meaning of life, you can't find anything, just try to do anything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name's Mia Teresa. I'll be making videos like this every single week. Comment on any topics you want me to cover next, and I hope you go out and do something